with Sparkle and Shine Guidance, and this is your new moon in Scorpio moon oracle. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this new moon in Scorpio, but I also want to talk about this whole cycle because it's so exciting and unknown and transformative and a little maybe frightening, if we're honest, because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, which Pluto is a little bit frightening. Pluto is where we've had to stash and store and repress and suppress and do all the things so that people can't see our true self and see our true power because, that's scary, right? And so Pluto rules this season, and Pluto is the Lord of the underworld, so let's just say it, okay? And this is not the real deal. This is in our own minds. You guys, there's so much happening in here. And in your own minds, you have your own battles that you're fighting. And Scorpio time is a time where these are brought out so that we can heal and move on. Scorpio is the time in fall that is the depth of fall. And the depth of fall season, what is fall season? Fall is death. Fall is release. Fall is tapping into that wisdom that knows that if we let this thing go, we're going to be able to bring in fresh new things, right? And so this time period can be a little bit feeling like, as a hold on. And actually it's asking for our release. It's asking for our surrender. And that's really interesting because Scorpio and Taurus, which is the polarity of Scorpio, where we'll have the full moon, they're both fixed and stubborn. But the way that they're fixed and stubborn is in a way for renewal. Both are feminine, yin zodiac signs. And so they're both really firm on creation, on creating something. And so they will stick with it, but within that creation, they know, they're so wise that there has to be integration from another. There has to be, comfort. There has to be these things brought in that create flow. Okay. And so when we have this new moon on the 27th, that's a Sunday, and Pacific Standard Time, it is at 9:38 p.m. And this new moon is making a really interesting aspect to Uranus, which is in Taurus, which is opposite exactly to the degree this new moon. What is that telling us? Well, talk about change, okay? And Uranus is sudden changes, and it's sudden aha moments. And so there could be a lot based on dream time, based on healing work, based on just taking a walk in nature and getting quiet with yourself, where this aha moment happens for you. And from that aha moment, that gives us momentum towards forging forward in this new way, towards releasing that old victim story, towards releasing that old story about perpetrator energy or being taken advantage of, or power dynamics. Pluto has a lot to do with things that are out of our personal power, but when we're able to heal them, we get to our personal power. And so it's really important to look at where 4 degrees of Scorpio is in your chart, okay? And that's going to show you what area of life where you're supposed to be open to this fresh new story coming in and fresh new intentions to come in. So we have the new moon where the sun and the moon are both in 4 degrees of Scorpio, and completely opposite of that, we have Uranus in 4 degrees of Taurus. So if you have any planets or placements close to that area, you're going to be feeling this one a little bit more. And with every new moon, it is the opportunity to set fresh new intentions. The thing that I do want to mention is that we have the nodes of the moon, both the north and the south node, the north node in Cancer, the south node in Capricorn, making some interesting connections to Pluto itself and to Saturn. We have both of those and part of a bigger, longer dynamic that's happening. But the sun and the moon will be trining the north node. And this is really important, okay? Because the north node is where we're collectively being drawn. And this is towards our emotional intelligence. This is towards trusting and understanding that our emotions have information for us, and we are not to be suppressing them. We are not to be numbing them. We are not to be medicating them so that we don't have to feel, right? And so this is all new for America, and we're not comfortable with this, and maybe other cultures too. And so when we get this trine, it's a fresh new opportunity to step into this. So you also might want to look to where that north node is hitting your chart, and maybe even that south node. They're opposite of each other as well. We will be having a very powerful eclipse on Christmas Day. I've talked about it. If you've seen other videos, I've talked about it. And, you know, that's where my 2020 planner starts, because that is the beginning of a new story. So we are, at this time, integrating, bringing in fresh new stories to bring with us on this journey. However, in order to go on that journey, there's so much that needs to be released. So even though this is a new moon, Uranus tells us that there's sudden aha moments that are going to come in that are going to help us to release and to let go of, because that is Scorpio season. And it's interesting to me that we have Uranus in Taurus, and then the full moon will be in Taurus. So there's a lot of Taurus influences into the Scorpio season, which really amplifies the feminine in our lives. So really looking to that. We also have a powerful Mercury retrograde happening that starts on Halloween, All Hallows Eve, October 31st. And this is showing us wherever it's happening in your chart, you're going to get more integration. You're going to have more ways of communicating, especially if you have a water Mercury. So if your Mercury is either in a water house or it's in a water sign, or you're lucky like me and it's a water sign in a water house, you're going to be gifted with more opportunities to bring words to the wisdom or the insight that you have that hasn't been valued in our culture. So that's exciting. And if you are someone who's super logical and super oriented towards this culture in the very masculine ways, then it might be a little bit frustrating to you these next few months. But that's when it's an opportune time to work with healers that are more in touch with that feminine side. So this time period is all healing and all is well. And if you can remember that, bring your energy back. There's so much negative and clickbait information about Mercury retrograde happening starting on Halloween, and the eclipses and the Pluto-Saturn conjunction in 2020. And there's so much negativity out there, and I just want to remind you, this is all for our collective evolution. This is all for our personal evolution. This was the soul agreement that we came in to share with each other. And it gives me the chills because we are getting to some really juicy, important healing work that is so necessary for this planet. And we are never separated from her. She is alive and well within us and around us. And when we have this cycle where we have both feminine, the feminine new moon and the feminine full moon, it is an opportune time with that Mercury retrograde and a feminine sign to really get in touch with your feminine. So definitely reach out if you want to work with me one-on-one. And I do have the planner that you need to pre-order. So you have to pre-order that planner if you want to get yours in time. And it's going to start with that eclipse on the 25th with journaling prompts and planning and all that good stuff. So definitely order that. I'm also doing a Scorpio activation for the magic of Scorpio season, as this time where the veil is thinned and we're able to tap into our deep magic, that we all have this birthright. We don't have to be born into a certain family. We don't have to be born into a certain culture in order to tap into this inherent magic that we all have within us. And so if you want to get in touch with that more and how it shows up in your personal soul's map, your personal birth chart, please register for that class. It's Friday. There will be a playback if you can't make it to the live class. Make sure and put in your birth information when you register so that we can have your chart up. And I'm so excited to share that with you. Lastly, to wrap up this new moon oracle, I just want to mention that this new moon is ideal time to work with the element of water. So having either water out on your altar, working with water, taking a really strong Epsom salt bath, cleansing your crystals at this time, utilizing water in ritual or in your cooking, whatever it is, just bring in the element of water. And that water element has to do with our emotions. And so honoring to whatever emotions come up for you this following weekend, and how you can integrate this part of you that is so powerful into yourself by tuning into your emotions and moving. Emotion has the word motion in it, and moving those emotions will get you to clarity and get you to more of your power. So this is a very powerful time, as you might have guessed, and it is a great time to work with me in preparation for really leading new ways in 2020. So I have multiple programs and ways of working with me that I won't go into, but definitely reach out if you're interested. Have a beautiful day. Please like and comment if this helped you. Have a great day.